CD Projekt Red is the father of the highly praised Witcher series, so when gamers heard they were releasing a title that was like GTA, but in the future, called Cyberpunk 2077, people were very excited. They announced the game way back in 2012 and fell silent for years, but just when people lost hope, a pulse was felt at E3 2018 when they were announcing the June E3 lineup. Gamers were waiting anxiously for CD Projekt Red to present their masterpiece, and the reception from the trailer at E3 was better than perfect. They showcased the open world the player would be in, and it had gamers buzzing. The hype train had just started for the gaming community, and it had people climbing the walls for more. It wouldn't be until 2 months later in August when fans would get what they wanted, and it would be fair to say that CD Projekt Red delivered. They showcased a detailed 48-minute gameplay demo, which featured a narrator giving insights to the viewer about what to expect. They touted branching storylines in the game, with many quests and crowded streets of pedestrians in the game. After this revelation, it wouldn't be until about a year later when CD Projekt Red would give another taste of what to come at E3 2019. This time around, they showed a cinematic trailer that unveiled arguably the biggest shock in all of gaming history. That being the addition of Keanu Reeves. This had the hype train at unprecedented levels of hype. More importantly, they announced the release date slated to come out a year later on April 16, 2020, and opened the store for pre-orders. As expected, the hype would lead to over 8 million gamers pre-ordering the game. I mean, it's CD Projekt Red. They are more than trustworthy, right? To fuel the hype of the game even further, CD Projekt Red announced contests featuring cash prizes for the winners and even more gameplay. Then, the World event happened, making everyone stay inside during 2020, including the game developers. Obviously, this stunted development growth, leading to the game's original release date on August 16, 2020 to be moved back into September 17, 2020. This caused players that pre-ordered the game to be upset, but this is CD Projekt Red we're talking about. Of course they are taking the extra time to release something that's quality. They delayed it again? This time, the game was moved back even further to November 19th. This caused gamers to be outraged, and it was justified. At this point, it had been a full year since the game was able to be pre-ordered, but in return, gamers got nothing. CD Projekt Red had to come up with something quick, and boy did they deliver. To make up for their disappointment, they released a 5-episode series that would drop every other month called Night City Wire. In this series, they would unveil juicy details about the world and how they created it, from the sound of the cars to the fashion and the storylines in the early part of the game. Gamers were starting to become skeptical about the development of Cyberpunk because the workers of CD Projekt Red were starting to leave. Plus, there was some unrest within the company about the crunch of the impending release date. There was light at the end of the tunnel though. CD Projekt Red announced that the first copy of the game had been made, signaling the start of mass production. That means no delays, right? Right? The release date got sent back to December 10th, 2020. The public was furious, and the pressure was piling up for CD Projekt Red to release the game. So without any options left, CD Projekt Red had no other option but to release the game. On the fateful day, gamers eagerly opened up the game and chaos soon unfolded after. Bugs after bugs were found in the game, and players found it hard to enjoy themselves. It wouldn't be until a few hours later when footage from last-gen consoles was going viral. The visuals were just not what was advertised by the CEO of CDPR. When he said that the game runs surprisingly well, this was not what players had in mind. The problems were rampant, and it was clear that people were starting to get upset. To make amends, CDPR said that players could get refunds, but there was a slight problem with that when it came to PlayStation, since they do not support refunds. So, you might be wondering, what did PlayStation do in response? Well, to show the disapproval for the refund statement by CDPR, they pulled it off their storefront and said it would return once the game is in a better state. This was a major hit to the company of CDPR because that is a whole platform that refused to allow their game to be sold. So, in a comeback fashion, they got to work releasing hotfix after hotfix, and about 6 months later, the game was allowed back onto the PlayStation Store. The game, though, was still far from finished. Bugs were still evident, and the world just felt empty compared to the bustling streets in the trailers. Aside from updates and hotfixes here and there, CDPR stayed very quiet about development for 2 years. But the state of the game was slowly but surely getting better and better, and people were actually playing it and having fun. But gamers were longing for a DLC for those 2 long years. Just when gamers were losing hope though, a new teaser was released regarding a new DLC called Phantom Liberty, and the response to it was absolutely electric. It was clear that people were happy to see some new life brought back into the game. It also seems like CDPR is a magnet for celebrities playing roles with them, claiming Idris Elba as a character in the coming expansion. The story is not all that's going to be added. CDPR has been hard at work over the past 2 years to right their wrongs. They claim they will fix the game and release it the way it should have been released, by featuring overhauls to various systems inside of the game. Sadly though, to avoid the situation that happened at launch, the game will be released only on next-gen systems and computers. The new update is slated to come out sometime in the next 2 months, with Phantom Liberty coming out on September 26th. So, how do you feel about the state of Cyberpunk? Do you think Phantom Liberty will turn out great? Let me know in the comments below. And if this is your first time seeing my content, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll catch you next time around. Peace.